AV SuperFriends On Topic is an independent production wholly owned and operated by AV SuperFriends, LLC. For the highest quality recording of all of our shows, visit avsuperfriends.com. This is AV SuperFriends On Topic, a 30-minute monthly roundtable focused on a single topic. This discussion will be opinionated, to the point, and saturated with our well-known blend of painfully won expertise and deeply ingrained immaturity. For August 2024, it's the best-sounding podcast in higher ed. This is the AV SuperFriends On Topic, broadcasting live to tape from coast to coast, easternmost to westernmost, northernmost to southernmost, gate post to hitching post. I'm your local host who can boast the most milquetoast and utmost humility. I'm Chris Dechter. It's time for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure with the AV SuperFriends.
Yay. That was impressive. That was a real quick fade. What did you do there?
I stepped on it because I've got too much stuff going over here.
So, go on.
I was just going to say.
I will jump on you as you start talking. So
okay.
Go.
So interrupt me after we start. Mm-hmm. Ordinarily, we stream live on the third Friday of the month, but we can't read calendars and realized last week we should have streamed and didn't stream. So instead, you're seeing us now on the fourth Friday of the month, which means we're also going to stream next Friday, the first Friday of the next month, and then also the third Friday. It's whatever. Just follow us on the tweeters, LinkedIn's, intercams, Snippy Chimps, all that fun stuff, and you can find out where we are.
This, I'm curious where you are watching this from.
Probably from a computer or phone.
Because I can tell you right now, we are not on X or Twitter with 100% certainty.
It's supposed to be working. Is it not working?
No, Elon is requesting us to upgrade our account to premium for us to be able to stream live there from now on. So just FYI, sorry for you folks.
Elon wants his money.
Elon wants his money. He's got to shout out to a campaign contribution, so he wants us to pay for that.
But I just bought 4 Cybertrucks. I should get that streaming.
Okay, well, we'll figure that one out in a minute because we do have a premium account. So that means there's a disconnect somewhere and an API that's not logging.
No longer API. But we are on LinkedIn. We'll figure it out. For those people viewing on LinkedIn, congratulations.
Yeah, actually, if you don't mind, you could go grab the stream or the LinkedIn link and throw it into the tweeters. If you can figure out how to do all that stuff.
Man, you are really... This is Larry's job, and you have me run all those things.
Larry's not here today, so it's...
Everything went to hell.
Everything is
juggling all this stuff.
Completely wrong right now.
So Larry is not here with us today. Larry is on a family vacation. They took, as I understand, they took a bunch of rafts over to the local amusement park, and they were whitewater rafting in the Raging River ride or something.
Raging River
Downhill.
Ride.
Yes.
That's the official name.
What do you call it?
A river?
Okay.
Oh, God. Anyway.
All right. So anyway,
like you were saying,
let's say hello to the panel of AV SuperFriends who are here today. And let me go switch to this screen.
I'm barely here.
Whoops, that's a little bright. Let me dial that back. Joined by a central implementation producer from Kansas City, Jamie Rinehart.
Hi there.
Hold on. Gotta get this going. Also joined by a dynamic brand architect from Corvallis, Oregon, Marc Cholewczynski.
Did you guys see this? Did you see the color on this? This looks amazing.
That's very dynamic.
Yes, it is.
I don't know. It sounded overcompressed.
Also joined by our Chief Accounts Vice President from Bowling Green, Kentucky, Justin Rexing.
I have all the accounts.
Just the chief account.
All of them. And yours. I have your accounts.
Well, good.
Well, I'm glad you're in charge of that.
Yeah. Somebody had to be.
Except for the Twitter account. X.
I take no responsible. None of that.
That's the only account I don't have.
That's
something is very broken on that. I'll fix it later. I was trying to fix that this morning, and obviously that didn't work. So, all right.
You broke it.
So, for the second month in a row, there has been no topic provided by the fine folks at Higher Ed AV, so we're going to make up our own stuff for our on-topic topic. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Honestly, I think most people have drifted pretty far from everyone trying to do this, cover the same general topic every month, so it had some cohesiveness, and now it's just kind of a random assortment of things. So,
yeah, why not?
We're going to go really random.
It's a real potluck of topics.
So what we decided we would talk about is display technologies. And I don't remember how it came up, but I think it's every couple of months. It's the question of whoops, I got to start to get my timer going here too. Has LED gotten to the point where we can justify putting that everywhere we want? short answer is no. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next month.
Yes, we can.
No, we cannot.
We can.
So we have numbers. We have a spreadsheet.
Oregon money. Oregon
so we're going to talk about that. Let me start this thing going there. All right, there's our timer. Okay.
We'll litigate this. Get to the bottom of it right now.
So, I guess the first thing we need to just discuss is nomenclature. Mark, you raised right before the show. What do we call these things?
And it sounds stupid, I know, and that's okay. I always sound stupid. I'm used to that. We know what projectors are. We know what like the big dog LED thing is, but like, what are we referring to that middle ground thing as? And we had talked about some different. Like, when you're meeting with a client, I think people default like, "Hey, the big TV," right? But what are we agreeing? What is that called? Tell me, like, how do you refer to them?
If it's to a client and it's not a desktop monitor, like a computer monitor, I have to say monitor for the computer, or like the on top of a lectern or something. But if it's a 55-inch TV, because it's all they ever want to hear. Now, if it's
as wrong as it is, that's what we refer to it as. Okay.
If it's us nerds, it's
I'm
just
making
a display
sure.
or a monitor.
Just making sure.
But aren't you also asking like what do you call the technology driving those displays? Or are you talking about just the general physical display?
Just a physical display.
How do you differentiate?
Jeremy's here.
If you say, hey, we're going to put a display here, people think of it as the typical TV style, not a projector or a direct view.
And you're okay with like the risk and like, oh, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl on this thing. Like, and obviously it doesn't have a tuner. Like,
that's part of needs analysis.
Do you have to fall into that whole thing?
No, but if I feel like I need to, then yes, I have the disclaimer of blah, blah, blah. But in the last few years, nobody asks.
Okay.
Everybody's in that streaming mindset. I mean, the fact that I use a tuner at home and that's it.
You're the guy. It's you.
Use a tuner. Why would you do that? Because over the air is better.
Why is it better?
Oh, no.
That's a whole nother show.
It's going to go sideways quick.
Because it's free. Because it doesn't cost anything.
But it's better quality.
Costco shopper right there.
Hey, buddy.
Well, okay. So related to the technology, what about if we're speaking in slightly consumerish terms? All LCD televisions are branded as LED because they're talking about the backlight technology,
right. And that's where things get real.
And that's where it gets squirrely.
That's why I never really get into that kind of technology.
Okay,
and most people don't care.
No. I mean,
I'm not even going to go there.
If you're describing the technology between, or the difference of technology between an LCD video wall and an LED video wall, and they're wondering why there's a huge delta in price.
At that point, they're probably like, I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
They don't care.
Okay, fair enough.
We do, but they don't.
If I get to that, like a video wall thing, then I have to break it down further. But generically, I don't even look at the paneled LED walls anymore. The TV walls.
Okay.
I don't even look at them anymore.
So we still refer to projection. That's kind of like, that's your nomenclature there. Like, people know what that is.
I would hope so.
Okay.
I've now taken to calling them all overhead projectors to confuse the shit out of people.
People actually, the people we talk with, they understand that.
Yeah, but they're thinking transparencies.
Sure.
I still like the people who refer to them as cameras. Oh, that the camera in here looks weird.
It's a reverse camera. That's what that is.
Yeah.
With the camera, I've heard that before.
All right, so
the ceiling's broke.
So what's the exercise, Chris? What are we doing?
So related to that, the task at hand here is, where is the delta in the three different display technologies? So an LCD panel with LED backlighting, a projection display, LCD or DLP, doesn't matter, but they're all laser driven, and an LED direct view large format display. Where do we see those deltas in recent projects or in, just generally in the market? And the magical spreadsheet, which I put together, and I noticed that no one else put anything.
I looked at it.
You looked at it. Thank you.
Yesterday and today.
You made a vague comment to me.
I just looked at it now.
Does it matter who got the comment? You're not going to bring up bulb versus laser, Justin, are you? No. Let's not go there. Okay.
I can't even go there, and I'm in Kentucky.
And that's I'm just making sure we are.
If you're still buying lamp projectors, please stop.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
And so we gathered and aggregated common sizes that we felt were comparable in teaching and learning spaces. True? Is that what we kind of came up with? The sweet spot, so to speak.
We kind of get out there on
in
the
a
size
normal size space. And what is normal? What do we say our assumptions were, Chris? Roughly.
Assumptions with what?
Size of room, because somebody's going to die on that hill. Well, I'm going to be at the back of the room.
I didn't even go into that. This covers everything. So the sizes I did on this was displays up to 20 feet. So 20 feet diagonal. So just a quick, some ground rules on this. These are all 16 by 9 like God intended. There's no 20:9 nonsense. There's no 4x3 nonsense, and there's no
jumping off this call. We can't talk about 20:9.
There's no 16 by 10 wrong aspect ratio purchase.
But all projectors are.
We'll just put a scale.
Yeah, I know they are, and we've had that discussion before. So projectors are for business. That's for doing business, and 16 by 9 is for actual content. So use 16 by 9. Anyway,
like you were saying.
So I've got LCDs on the spreadsheet from, and I guess we can share this out. I'll put the link in the show notes. We have LCDs on here. I just have 2 on here. One that says less than 86, 85, 86. So if you're 86, 85 or less, then and you need a display of that size, then you're doing an LCD, because that's literally the only thing out there, unless I guess you're projecting on the wall or something.
65-inch projection screens.
Well, okay, good point, Justin. The short throws and ultra short throws, which are terrible in general, so please don't do those.
Unless you're K through 12.
I shockingly have done some short throws lately.
No, just for the purpose of this exercise and for the rest of your life.
Yeah, not for these folks.
The only other thing I listed for LCDs is 98/100. Most are 98. Are in LCD land, and that anything above that you're in LED or projectors. The interesting thing is there is some crossover there. You can get small projection screens and do projectors at like 92 inches and things like that. But at that point, just put a big ass TV on the wall and call it a day.
Okay.
That's kind of where LCD landed. Is rule of thumb, 100 inches or less, go LCD. That's an easy choice.
The whole elevator thing and which floor does it go on is a decision point for us on that.
It can be, yes, I guess so.
Yeah, but
so it does
take a window out.
No, we don't do that.
Forklift them in. We've done that.
Turn up the stairs.
Just rent a crane like everybody else.
See, we don't got that kind of money. 2 big
hillbillies and a couple of toe straps. Look at them up there.
Once you get to 100 inches, for the most part, I'm guessing we're doing projection. That is to say, 100 to about 180, 200, somewhere up to that 20 feet range, we're probably doing projection. And this is the question of the day is like, well, then at which point can we do LED large format displays, which all start at a little over 100 inches, and they go up to that same, 20 feet. Oh, also on the LEDs, the large format displays, we're looking only at the all-in-one. Our favorite all-in-wonders.
Yeah.
None of the nonsense that requires a custom build-out where you do the crazy math with the panels and have to have a processor and all that stuff behind it. I get it. For those special installations, you're doing some nutball sports stadium and you need things all the way around. You're doing a performing arts center, museum, whatever, and you want those special strip displays. That's fine. Do whatever you want. We're talking about in general, bog standard, average projects, which are most likely rectangular classroom type rooms of some sort.
This whole thing is about it's coming down. Like that's the takeaway. Close. It's coming down, right? And that's where we started to have the whole conversation where, is it going to be at that point? And so we did the exercise to say, okay, well, what's the pressure here? Is if you're just dollars to donuts, where does it become attractive? And if it's just size and that's your only metric and that's the only thing you care about, and you just want to get as big as you can for the least amount of number, then you're probably still going to be in projection world.
It's projection land.
Yeah.
Every single time. Now, to me, it starts to get into what should you be doing in these spaces becomes the narrative. Like, what is it that you're doing? And are you trying to go with like minimum viable product teaching and learning space or maximum allowable impact teaching and learning space? What should you be doing versus what are you doing? To me, that's the question. So, should you be doing more direct view style displays, or are you okay with just the projection at this point? Are you getting the job done?
Yes, I would like to do more, but my budget dictates that I cannot.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I'm finding a lot of more and more cases where places where I would have even putting in a more powerful projector, a 10 or 12,000 lumen projector, but if it's got a ton of light, you're still battling all the rest of the necessaries but man, you just couldn't make that hop into LED. But the prices are now to the point where I just asked you guys all the same question the other day too. Like, look, I am now in the market to be purchasing more and more of these 130 inch ish, all in one, hanging on the wall. It's still 110 volt outlet.
Some
It's
take
simple.
two.
Yeah. Okay.
But
This
still,
one
yes.
takes one.
Still easy, right? And off we go, because at that 35 grand mark,
And that was the
moly.
average
I
price
mean-
that we all kind of elected to say roughly 35K. Yeah, people out there, yes, you can go cheaper. You can go a whole lot more. We kind of picked that as the middle of the road where you're going to start to see this cost. And that's, you got some structure, you got some power stuff. You got to this is not the 4K sub 1 millimeter pixel pitch thing. That's not what we're talking about. We're
It's
talking adequacy level.
And that's a good point, Mark. On the LED large format displays, these are all 1080p models. They are all pixel pitches of between 1.5 to 2.5 because that's how they do the sizing on those. So
We did go down to 1.2 though.
Yeah,
1.2 to 2.5 is how we did it, but we didn't go less than that. These are not 4K models. These are not crazy custom models. These are kind of your off the shelf in fixed sizes. And they all seem to, it's interesting, kind of like with projection screens. A projector, it can be any size you want. It has an infinite number of possibilities based on how far away it is from something and how you zoom it, or with the lens you put on it. But an LED, similarly, you can build custom ones, but these are kind of all fixed in place. And that's what we're looking at because to Jamie's point, it's super easy. Yes, I need some structure on the wall. Yes, I need two 110 circuits. But other than that, the rest is just I need a LAN connection, a HDMI cable, and we're done. So it's from the standpoint of something that's deployable and scalable. There's potential there.
It's much easier to support these than a bunch of projectors in the ceiling too.
And
at scale.
I'm not ready to put them everywhere, but I do have now. I
ready.
have some.
Just like, let's go.
I'm buying them today.
We're ready to do it.
There.
Show me the money.
So financially, we're not ready just to throw them all over the wall.
How many do you have currently? Just give me a snapshot of your fleet.
We're about to have. Well,
not sports videos.
Yeah.
No, excluding
We're
those.
about to have one.
Okay.
So,
One.
Okay. Chris?
3, I think.
Okay.
I
Something
have been trying to purchase these all-in-ones for the last 2 years, and I just couldn't. But they were still tipping more towards 50 grand, and people weren't looking at it. But now they're saying, well, a 98-inch display is X amount, or I can go just, wow, that would be really impressive. And now that I have the one, it's easier, and I'm able to
I feel
now
like the
have
first one is the
interest.
hardest one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's the justification, right? And so I went from having none to outside of sports venues and very unique boutique to having you've seen the big giant seminar style events, it's quasi event space, to having 2 to 3 more within like 6 months.
Yep.
So I feel like once that
it,
dam breaks and it comes through,
I think
it starts to come out. Yeah.
I think I'll have 3 or 4 by the end of the year.
Right. I think
by this time next year. Time next year, I should have 3 or 4, and I'm looking at more.
Right. And that's kind of where I go with, if we see the continued kind of pressure to come down in pricing on that, obviously, if it comes down to projection prices, it would be a no-brainer, but I don't know if it ever will. But is it the better experience? Let's talk about the actual differences between these things.
Well, that's the tough that as I was putting together the spreadsheet, that's the part I couldn't. It's the intangible. There is a wow factor to LED large format displays. That, to Jamie's point, 100-inch display, all installed, all that. Yes, you're in $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 or more, depending on the level of display you want in there. Just an LCD, sorry, a 100-inch LCD.
Right.
Plus, you have to consider, I need structure in the wall, I need power, I need a mount, I need all this stuff. So you may be in that like 12 to 15 range, and then to say, okay, for double the price, you can have something that's a little bit bigger, but look at this.
So
you've had a lot of
the big ones
departments
with interactivity now too. So it's like, which is even wilder. Yeah, I know. As gross as that may seem.
Here's my newest thing. I'm finding interactive displays that people don't know are interactive, and I unplug the USB cable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine.
It solves so many problems.
So I think when you start, if you were going to do an active learning room today, and you needed to do the big dog display, because this is one of the challenges, and this is weird. And yes, you could do the big interactive, that whole thing, but the problem up against a lot is that, yes, those displays are serving the little bullet table, whatever, the group of students directly in front of it, but how often do you have those students that are actually looking across the room? Because the instructor's standing in the middle of the room talking to them, and so how are they accessing the actual data off of those displays? Very seldom do they actually turn around and view the one display that's right there. They're actually viewing from across the room. So that whole like, oh, well, I'm only serving this area, that whole argument goes right out the window, right? And so you're
saying the people in the groups they're looking at somebody else's display?
Yes. It happens a lot. They're not working on their computer on somebody else's display. But the instructor's content is out because the instructor's talking to them.
That says like you got the wrong person teaching in that room because they should be doing group
I'm
projects.
I'm just bringing up the thing that happens. People land in those spaces. They're not completely trained to be doing everything active learning room. So the whole size of the display things always riddles me because I can never get it to be exact. If I was just serving just the 8 students that are right there, it'd be one size. But the reality is there'll be discussions.
Well, let me ask this question. If you're building an active learning room from scratch, you say, hey, Mark, we're doing a new building. We need an active learning space over here. Is your default to include the displays for each group, pod, whatever you want to call it, but also a large display at the front of the room, the primary display, whatever you want to call it, that is sized appropriately for people to sit anywhere in the room and look at it?
We don't have that luxury
Why not?
In the actual architect creation of the room, the way
That's
that
weird.
the infrastructure is around the room, it's just all pods, right? There is no, I understand what you're saying, have those things. But right now we're sitting on like the big TV version of these in spaces, 80s, 90s, 100s, and things like that. I would love to go to like the LED version of these in an active learning room and really blow this thing apart.
The only challenge with that I could see is you'd have to, and this is one of my pet peeves, is mixing display technologies in a single room. So you're mixing projection plus LCD, at the student pods, or to your point, you put an LED at the front, but then the students have, their 65-inch LCDs, and they're going to, you'll never get those to quite line up.
Oh yeah, it'd be weird. So
I always struggle because when you shine a projector on a direct view LED, you can't see either image very well.
yeah, it just goes
Get better
south.
projectors, man.
What are y'all doing?
So, fancy things, Justin. Fancy things.
Keep it more simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see these things coming into our seminar rooms, our high-end board/conference rooms.
I see it more in boardrooms.
Those things right now. But
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see it in some teaching and learning spaces. So I think it's gonna happen in the next year or so.
Auditoriums maybe,
Yes.
but not widely in classrooms yet.
And
hopefully soon.
Well, I have a couple of even they're 30 seats, but they're more executive style class. The fit and finish is so high that I have a space or two for those. Most of mine are still anything that faces the public. So if they have admissions meetings in there with prospective students, they're looking at trying to do an LED.
Right.
If it's just, accounting 101, nobody cares.
Help me unpack this a do bit. We've talked about in the past.
Minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna nail down.
We're gonna unpack this in
maybe overtime.
60 seconds.
Do you
Can't go overtime. We get
do you
complaints.
see a world where you're going to reduce your classroom footprint on campus? Yes or no? With technology density.
Wait, what? Say that again in words that make sense.
You're going to deprecate classrooms in the future because your enrollment's not going to justify having as much density of technology out there.
So the answer is yes to the first half, no to the second half, because our enrollment's going up.
Well, yeah, we're saying, but okay, so we've all had to press ourselves to kind of find a way to reduce whatever. So you're probably all agreeing we're not going to do as much deployment. So does that change your perspective, saying where you do deployment, you're going to put best in class?
Yes.
And does that give you justification for saying we're going to go this route in these teaching and learning spaces at core campus? We want to have the best.
We're on the edge.
Right there. And that, to me, that's where I think things will go. We will have no technology on the edge, in that the closer to core campus you become, you're going to have your best of breed experience. And I think that's where this stuff starts to fall.
I think that's where this conversation even started, is the fact that those direct view displays are getting to a price point to make that topic exactly right on. Like I would be more, but they're going to have to start tweaking down to around the 22.
Yeah, I was going to say it needs to be about 10,000 less.
But why?
And then
but why that number? Why?
Because it's a better argument.
But is that coming from a place where you're stretched right now to meet the needs of too much technology deployment? If you weren't concerned with equity, like putting these things everywhere, and you're going to put them in best breed, does that change your economic decision?
Not on
I
our
think
campus.
it's easier to swing that in mass at a little bit smaller price point.
I think the
we're
higher
almost
end.
there.
I think the higher end spaces on our campus, if the technology came down to 20, 30%, it would be more interesting to us just for the high-end spaces. That's how far away we are from it. I just, ask me again next year when we have a new budget. We'll see.
You're gonna be like, I need 3% more, man. I just need 3% more off of this, and maybe I can propose this. Maybe.
Well, the challenge also is a lot of
LED displays, make them come down in price, right?
The challenge budgetarily is that a lot of this is based not on the, hey, you have, let's just throw out a number, you have $10 million to do campus. And if that's 500 rooms, and thus it's, do my math here for me, 20 grand a room, whatever it is. If I only have 400 rooms and it's 25 grand, it doesn't really work that way. What they'll do is they say, oh, your estimate was 20 grand a room. Well, we'll just reduce your budget by that. You still get 20 grand a room for the 100 room or 400 rooms. So it's.
But see, I will say this also, something to think about. 100% of the DirectV LEDs we've installed is they use construction money. They're not using their own money.
Capital funds,
Capital funds, right.
So that's something else to consider too, is you're going to get better luck of throwing these in capital projects versus just a renovation.
Well, I do believe that technology is a bit of an arms race for universities moving forward, and you will have to have the best of breed in there. And I think you will see a lot of that trickling into our decision-making processes when we look for recruiting students and making sure they're here and people touring. We've done some high-end spaces that look really, really good from tours to make sure that we're actually attracting those students that want to be excited to be here. I think that will factor into your calculations moving forward.
You're absolutely right. And that's, like I said, that's the intangible. That's the wow factor. So places that get a lot of, Jamie, you said like the high-end finish spaces. Mark, you said the public-facing places and tours. You see these a lot in the welcome centers or in the alumni buildings, things like that. But also you're going to start to see them in places where pound for pound you get more students in there. So it makes more sense economically to put this in a lecture hall or a large, heavily used classroom with 75 or 80 seats or something, because you cycle more people through there in a day. To your point, Mark, it's a bit of an arms race. More students are going to see that and experience it and get value out of it, as opposed to, I put one of these in a 30-seat classroom over in the, in the engineering building that is only used by 600 level classes, and there's like 12 people in there a day, sort of thing. So
right, I think you have to put your money where your attention goes. Right, if you have 100 students sitting in the room looking in one location, you need to put your money where they are looking to make sure your brand is being best represented.
But you're saying put the money on the wall?
Put the money, just hang it up, staple it right on the wall, make it there. So anyway. Invest where their attention is going to be, because they'll notice. They're paying the money. They're paying the bills. They know, like, what am I paying for?
Paying for that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Just
paying for that 8K interactive display over there.
That's right.
Paying for that.
I will just say, as an aside, Justin, to your point about capital funds and donor funds and special time, one-time monies that no one had to pay for. It's free,
Yeah, it's somebody else's money. It's not
I have an LED
money.
video wall on campus, which is, I think, 7 years old, so it's pretty early days on this one. The size of it is ridiculously small. It's like 110 inches. It's like, okay, whatever. I get it. At the time, it's interactive, etc. It's got every bell and whistle, every checkbox, every check they can make on the list, on the order form for that. The users absolutely hate it, not because of what the display looks like, but the way it's being controlled, the other stuff driving it. And it's a pain in the butt to the point where they want it gone. And I said, well, what do you want to replace this with? And I'm like, oh, just a big TV. Jamie, to your point, that's what they understand. Just put a big TV on there.
Best Buy, give me something. Give me something nice.
How big can you go? Can you go 200 inches on your TV?
Give me a refrigerator too. Put that.
Well, I asked them, I was like, well, what do you want me to do with this? Do you want to repurpose somewhere? So they were like, no, get rid of it. And
just
I'm
do
like,
whatever you want with it.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just go put this somewhere else on campus then. But
build a Christmas tree out of it.
He's put them onto his truck. He's driving around town with them.
Well, again, this one's, it's like 720p. Keep in mind, it's like 2017 time frame, so it's got some city miles on it. Again, the idea was you come into the boardroom and wow, look at that, but it doesn't quite have that effect.
Yeah. Okay. So what did we determine here today?
I don't think we determined the damn thing.
We got to the bottom of it, right?
We talked about how shit's still too expensive and it needs to come down in price.
Yeah.
But it's getting close.
It's getting close.
It's getting closer.
It's almost there.
There's less between projector and big TV than there is between big TV and LED. But not necessarily at size. And if you have basic small room, projector at 110 or whatever, you can almost get that big TV doing the same thing. Very close in price. But if you want to go bigger than that and you go into big dog LED or small dog LED, whatever that is, all kit, you're still at about double the price.
Yes.
Is that what it feels like?
Rough. More than that, at the small size,
it's a little more.
It's way more than that.
It's more than double.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
I think it's your midpoint of large projection starts to cross over into the for a little bit more, we could really make this room something special.
Shouldn't you be making it something special to begin with?
Nope.
Okay. Well,
here's the 40-year-old giant projection screen that's been part of the auditorium since it was built by the WPA. It still works.
Still has glass beads in it.
Everything that we do is special. Just everything.
All right. Well,
see, we gave him some overtime.
Yeah. We'll start rolling out of here. Let me push this one over here. Where is it? There.
All right. Well,
we'll be back next month with another topic of something, and
maybe
we'll go from there.
Twitter.
Did we solve the problems?
Of course we did.
Okay.
All of them.
Thanks for putting up with yet another episode of AV Super Friends On Topic. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV Super Friends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients. AV Super Friends On Topic is an independent production wholly owned and operated by AV Super Friends, LLC. For the highest quality recording of all of our shows, visit avsuperfriends.com.